Hello everybody, and welcome back to Animal Crossing City Folk. Today, I need to rant about something, and it's Splatoon related, so today's video will probably mostly just be about it, depending on how long today's video even is, because I don't know how long I'll actually be able to rant about it. But in Splatoon 2, Rank X sucks. It's horrible. It's unbalanced, it's unfun. It's made me legitimately hate playing ranked. A game mode I actually kinda liked up until that point. I mean, Turf War was nice for some, fun with viewers, fun with friends. League battles are, I don't ever take them all that seriously. That was, meteor shower tonight. We've kind of already seen those before, though, so I'm just gonna probably not pay attention to it, because that would require me being up for far longer than I want to be. But, like, Ranked was just kind of the game mode for me to go and actually test myself against other people. And all the way up to S+9. Yeah, I'd have losses. I wasn't winning every game. Most games felt like a really good back and forth. Like, it was pretty rare to just get a curb stomp. Flash forward from S+9 to X, which, mind you, is literally one rank up. I also want to note, every S+ rank plays against other S+. Like, if you're an S+, you're playing against every other S+. Doesn't matter if you're an S+0 and they're S+9, you're playing against them. So, the S+'s are all, you'd expect there to be curb stomps there. But there aren't really. Well, there are, but they're very few and far between. Then you get X rank. It was just a mushroom, but it was a mush stool. Okay, we already have one of those. Time to sell that one. Then you get X rank, where in my 10 placement games, I had 2 games that felt balanced. And that both teams were of equal skill. And one of those games could have been an easy victory had my team not have actually been being idiots. Because there is a sub-power called Squid Beacon. Alright, we already have the money rock found. And to effectively explain it is, it gives you... Well, effectively think of it this way. It gives you a respawn point in the map, instead of spawning at the spawn point, effectively. It gives you a super jump point, which you can then jump to after you spawn. But with with the right setup, Squid Beacons may as well just be extra spawn points. They are incredibly helpful if your team uses them, because every weapon that has beacons is a really short range or really long range, low fire rate weapon. Like, the 2 long range Squid Beacon weapons are the Tent Umbrella, and for those who don't play Splatoon, it's effectively Reinhardt the weapon. It's a giant shield umbrella that, it can fire, but it's really clunky and just not all that great. Well, I say that. It's a really good weapon if you get used to it. And the other is the E-Leader. The E-Leader is the longest range sniper rifle that takes the longest time to charge to its one-hit kill, making it really clunky and hard to use. Now let's talk with, Nana. Oh, hello, S-Spot. Zoom? I don't know too many people, and it's making it feel like my world's kind of small. Just many opportunities to meet people from outside this town. Do you have any friends who live in other towns? No, I don't. I don't. I'm sorry, Nana. I know we should really talk to the villagers more, but I need to rant about this. No, excuse me. Like... And the other, like, the shorter range weapons that use Squid Beacons are literally some of the absolute shortest range weapons. So, like, you either have basically the longest range or the shortest range. And albeit in the right hands, one of these short-range weapons can actually be really good. One of them can be moderately good. The other one can be... But you're not gonna have a great, if you're built for using the beacon, you're not built for using the weapon well, is the problem. Like, so if your team isn't using them, you lose, basically, because your team is effectively down a teammate, because your team is refusing to use your beacons. So you're not really actually contributing anything to the team. Because your team is making it so you're not contributing anything. Which makes you want to not play beacons. But then the moment you stop playing beacons, the enemy team will have someone using beacons, and they'll actually have a team that's using them. And you'll lose because they'll never not have a presence at wherever the objective is. So that makes you want to play beacons if you have a setup for beacons. Which left me for 7 of my placement games using a beacon setup. And just kind of hoping my team would use them. And a lot of the times they would. But my team would also just generally be a weaker team. Like, it would be pretty obvious we were the weaker team, and there was just nothing we could do about it. And that's incredibly frustrating, because you don't really get that feeling with S+. I mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm a definitively S+ player. Maybe that's it. But that does mean I literally need to suffer through those 10 placement games and then lose 4 or 5 games to get knocked back down to S+, just to be put into S+9 to very quickly be put back into X. Like, it honestly right there feels like there should be something between S+9 and X. Because there's clearly a skill level in between there, and I'm clearly that skill level. Oh, here's another fossil. Jeez. Okay. So, like, I'm just stuck with not wanting to play ranked anymore. Because of how badly designed X-Rank is. Though it doesn't even really fall down to X-Rank itself being badly designed, as it does the weapons being badly designed. It's honestly no secret that Splatoon does not have the most balanced weapons. It never had. Like, even the first Splatoon game, there was no reason to play anything that wasn't a splatter shot or a blaster. Like... Oh, you're not the one with fleas. It's Benedict, isn't it? Yep. Like, the first game did really have that problem. I suppose a few rollers were worth using, and, there was the occasional, other weapon that you would see used. Like, occasionally you would see, well, a Splattershot Pro. But it would usually only be the Berry Splattershot Pro. Or you'd see the custom Splashomatic. And why you would see those is because they were the only weapons to have Suction Bomb Rush, which was the most powerful special in the game. At least I think they were the only two to have them. Might have been a third weapon that had it. Which means you'd probably have seen it too. But that special was the most powerful in the game, so yeah, of course people want to use that. But the weapons themselves weren't why they were using them because of the special. In Splatoon 2, it's much of the same. Only you basically only see dually squelchers, because they have the same range and damage output as a Splattershot Pro with a dodge roll, until the Kensa Splattershot Pro came out, a better sub. Now the Kensa has caught up, but arguably the Kensa has an equally better but worse special to the dually squelchers. You would see the Tetra dualies, light and dark, because they have, I believe, better range than the Splattershot and the dodge roll, only they can keep firing while they are dodge rolling, giving them a massive advantage. The Clash Blaster, because it's just the most powerful blaster, it having the best area denial, and if with direct hits, it has the second fastest kill speed, basically. Like, even say, like, if you want to use a splatter shot, just use the I forget what they're called. The alternate kit for the regular Splat Dualies. Because you'll have the same range and same damage output, only you'll have a dodge roll. Like, that's basically how you pick a weapon in Splatoon 2. Does it have a dodge roll? If yes, use it. If no, find the dually that matches its range and damage output. Dualies need nerfed. They need nerfed big time. And Nintendo seems almost reluctant to actually do it. Because, like, in the most recent update, which just happened, as of recording this, yesterday, as of this going up probably, like, 2 days ago, they made it so that dualies have a much bigger detriment put on them for being in the Toxic Mist sub. Like, it'll cost them a lot more ink to dodge roll, and they will use more ink when firing. And I believe they might actually also have more ink consumed for just existing inside of it. But the thing is, no one uses the Toxic Mist special that often. It's not a common, not special, but sub. It's not a common sub, because it doesn't really kill people. It just does a small bit of area denial. And let's face it, a set of dualies is just gonna dodge roll out of it. Unless that significantly increased amount of ink used is something like it pushing it up to like 75-80% of the ink tank, the dualies aren't going to care. That's something that Nintendo needs to get through their heads. That dodge roll is worth more than well over half of your ink tank. Because it lets you retreat through enemy ink, something no other weapon type can do. Not even brushes can effectively do it, because if they have to make, I believe it's a right or... yeah, I think it's a left-hand turn. If they make a left-hand turn, they're going to step in enemy ink, and they're going to die. So if you have to retreat towards the left with a brush, and you have to go through enemy ink, you may as well just stay and fight. You're gonna die anyway. Dualies? They're just gonna dodge roll through it. They don't have to care. Why should they care? They have dodge rolls, which are unaffected by enemy ink. Like, it's to that degree. Like, you just... especially once I've gotten to X, I've noticed it more and more of, like, if it's not dualies, you don't usually see people using it. Which, to me, as someone who has dabbled in game design and is currently designing 2 games, That screams to me of needing of balance change. But I think what it is Nintendo is worried that if they balance the dualies, a lot of their more professional and competitive players will quit and stop playing. Because a lot of them probably don't know how to use anything else. So the only real answer is to basically either buff everything else or nerf the dualies. Oh, this is a new fish. Awesome! I caught a football fish. Touchdown! I don't get it. No, I get it. At least we got a new fish out of this. But, like, that is the same problem a lot of more competitive style games run into. Do you actually nerf the meta? Because if you do, you risk your, most devoted players quitting because you've just nerfed what they use. But by not nerfing it, and just keeping things as they are, you risk having new players quit before they can even become devoted to your game, because they can see how unbalanced things are. So that's basically the point where it's basically the free-to-play question. Do you nerf the whales so that the content for those whales will exist? Only, in Splatoon 2's case, it's not really whales because there's nothing to buy with real money. But it's still the same idea. And a lot of game developers won't nerf the whales. They won't make, their whales unhappy. Because that's where their most dedicated player base is. And it's kind of the same with almost every game. Like, even if you look at, as much as I love it, if you look at EVE Online, CCP, the developers of it, definitely favor nullsec. Null security space. Because that's where their whales live. To the point where literally, I think the last change actively made to lowsec was probably about 2 or 3 years ago. And the last change actively made to highsec was basically an addition to something that was done to wormhole space, which is where another significant portion of whales live. So it doesn't exactly count. Ah, football fish. Yes, quite. The most striking detail of the football fish's life is the way the way multiple males are cared for by one female. Heard me correctly, a single female football fish will nourish and raise multiple males by herself. In contrast to the females, males don't make nests or gather food. Their sole task is to cling to the female. Another tidbit, only the females possess that amazing glowing antenna. Romance certainly takes many forms in the animal kingdom, eh what? Hold that aside, offer you gratitude. So that means we caught a female one. Now to go catch a male one. No. I have successfully ranted about Splatoon 2 for close to 20 minutes. I love the game, honestly, if I didn't like the game, I wouldn't be ranting about it. That's how I work. If I don't like a game, I'll mostly just mention I don't like it and move on. Unless I really want to like it, in the case of, like, Fire Emblem Awakening. I want to like that game. I really do. And honestly, while I'm exporting videos tonight, I might play it a bit. Because I do really want to like it. But it's just not a good game. But Nana wants something. Zoom! Say, S-Bot. I just noticed lately how much I've been saying Popo. I mean, I say it a lot, Popo. I wanted to know, do you think it's strange? It's not like I can help myself, Popo. I'm worried that other people might think it's weird. Maybe I should try to change. It's fine! Really? I can't tell you how comforting that is, Popo. Now I can hold my head up with pride and shout Popo to the world without shame. Good! Do not anger Mr. Popo. He will end us all. Okay, I should stop ranting about Splatoon. There's so much I want to talk about, 'cause to me, it's so interesting, because there is a lot of just bad design that should be fixed, but you can tell why they're not fixing it. And a lot of it is just simply they don't want to piss off the more competitive-based players. Like, if they didn't care about that, dualies would be balanced. Quite simply. They would have already balanced them. But they clearly care. And I can't get that at them for caring, because that's where probably biggest portion of the player base is. That actively plays. But the thing is, they need to care a little more about everyone else, because then everyone else will become that big player base that actively plays, because the game will be more balanced and people will want to play it more. I don't know. Could just be me. But I am going to end this off, because I've been ranting for long enough. So with that, I'd like to remind everyone I do have a Patreon. If you wish to throw money at me. If not, that's perfectly fine. Link is down below. With that said, thank you all very much for watching, and hope to see you again next time for more Animal Crossing City Folk. See you all then.